welcome to The Mention.
This is your weekly roundup of everything we've been buzzing about this week, and there's a lot to get through.
We don't have a bartender, but it's okay because our producer made drinks for us. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
And it's Pure Leaf apple cider flavored iced tea.
Oh.
You know, fall is almost here. I'm wearing a python skirt that I bought 20 minutes ago, and I'm just feeling some type of way.
You know what? I'm feeling good this
so
Friday.
good.
I feel like I need this weekend. We're kind of coming on the cusp of fall. It's getting a little colder in New York.
Also, what better way to spill the tea when we're drinking tea? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right?
Shout out to
More
Pure Leaf and shout out to Allie because this is really, really good.
So we have a ton to talk about this week, but to lead off the show, we have to talk really quickly about Ben Affleck. So we heard some sad news today. Apparently, he is checking himself back into rehab. But what's even crazier about this situation is we kind of saw it spark all over headlines, and we've seen pictures reportedly from TMZ. Jennifer Garner actually drove him to rehab. So we kind of see them coming together for this. So he reportedly is going back to rehab after this week. And so Jennifer did drive him there, and apparently it was after she discovered a photo of him accepting a delivery box from a delivery man filled with beer and alcohol, and I think she just was fed up to the point where I can't do this anymore. So apparently, according to inside sources, she actually staged an intervention for Ben, basically saying, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore, this is for our kids. When she showed up at the house, there was obviously reporters outside, and she asked him that this is a really difficult time, like, please be gentle and be sensitive with this. But apparently, also according to that same inside source, that Ben didn't resist, he didn't fight back, and he was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm going to go into rehab.
Wow.
This isn't his first stint in rehab either.
I was about to say, I didn't even know that he was going back to rehab. When you said back to rehab, I was like, wait, when was he there in the first place?
No, he's dealt with addiction for a long time.
Yeah, he has. And he's been open about it, too. So I'm excited for him. So he's, like, going back in for an extended period of time in an in-treatment facility. But interesting enough, this comes just a week after he broke up with his girlfriend of a year, Lindsay Shookus. And just hours after Shookus deleted her Instagram, and days after Affleck was seen on a date with a 22-year-old Playboy model, Shauna Sexton. So he's publicly dating this young model. He just broke up with his longtime girlfriend. And then we have Jennifer Garner coming in, swooping in to really, like, help him and be a good co-parent for his children. So what are y'all's thoughts on the whole situation?
I think he probably went through a bad breakup, has a rebound, and then has an ex-wife, co-parent that was trying to help him.
I honestly, I want to give major shout-outs to Jennifer. For one, I can imagine seeing the father of your children, like, spiraling. For one, like, you know, you just broke up with your long-term girlfriend. You're dating, you know, this 22-year-old model, which is pretty young for him, and, like, he kind of seems like he's all over the place. But for her to put all of that aside and say, like, we need to help you, so I'm going to be there for you, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that could, like, still do that.
Right. And the photos, the TMZ photos, even though I feel like we shouldn't have been allowed into that moment, they're pretty raw, and you can see, you know, been in the car crying, and you can see Jennifer with her sunglasses on asking people to leave them alone at this time. So I can't even imagine what it's like to go through that, but then to have this other layer of publicity on top of it. And even more interesting enough, Jennifer Garner is about to be in the midst of a press frenzy because she's releasing her new movie. It comes out September 7th. Called Peppermint. And I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer, but it's this mom, her family gets murdered, and she goes full on, like, attack mode afterwards.
I love those kind of movies. Like, I'm going to get my revenge, and I'm coming for you. I like those.
But I imagine it's a difficult time because she's obviously going to be going to premiere. She's going to be doing interviews for the movie. It's kind of like, how do you balance that? Because you know people are going to ask about her personal life.
And I really hope that they don't ask her about Ben in this instance, because if she's on a press tour to release her movie, Ben has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. And then also it's private. Like, that's about his life. That's about their family. So that you shouldn't be mixing questions about her movie Peppermint and her personal life.
Yeah, but that's what you get from being a celebrity. You're putting it out there. I really just feel bad for her, the kids, the daughters. I just feel like going to school, like everyone, all the kids, because they're now, I think Violet is their kids are like older now. They're like 12, they're old enough where they have cell phones. They have access to, you know, information about their dad. So it must be tough going to school and being like, I heard your dad's like in rehab. Like that's so terrible to deal with.
And Jennifer Garner, I feel like is known like for being so private about her life and really protecting her kids. So I know if anything, she's going to be the person who's going to sit down and explain the situation and be like such a good ally for them, like when they're going to school or dealing with other people. But it does just suck.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
will
the part
also
of the
say
deal.
big of him, though, for not resisting and knowing that he has a problem and willingly taking the help that Jennifer's giving.
Also, in good news for Jennifer, she did just get the Hollywood Star of Fame this week. So that's like a nice little touch.
Yeah.
So she's killing it. We love her.
We do. And we're rooting for Ben.
Love you, Ben. good luck. Sorry, that sounded really disingenuous. I really, On to kind of more unfortunate news. I don't know if you guys remember Asia Argento.
Yes.
She was one of the key players of the Me Too movement. She was one of the first accusers of Harvey Weinstein when the New York Times article came out. And she has landed herself in some hot water. If you guys haven't really been seeing in the news, she actually was accused by a New York Times, which is really ironic that it was the New York Times reported this on Sunday, that she sexually assaulted or had sexual encounter with a 17-year-old named Jimmy Bennett in a Los Angeles hotel room back in 2013. So this is 5 years ago, but it just came out now. And then it also was said by the New York Times that Argento reportedly arranged a $380,000 payment to keep Bennett quiet with the alleged assault. So that's really crazy.
This is like the pot calling the kettle black.
But she also blamed it.
So we're going to get into it. So then, so to give some background, Argento and Bennett starred in a movie in 2004 called The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things, and Bennett played her son, which is just a little gross.
A little weird.
So Argento immediately responded to the report saying the assault was completely fictional, false, no sexual relationship. But then she's got to know that if there are any photos, they're going to come out.
The receipts came out?
The receipts came out. TMZ just threw a photo literally the following day of her and Bennett. Looks like they're in a bed.
Are they cozy?
Apparently it's from when they were in the hotel room in 2013, making Bennett 17 years old and Argento 37 years old. And the consent in California is actually 18, so if she is charged, it would be for a statutory rape.
Oh my
Yikes.
God.
Bennett came out and said that he actually, so Bennett came out and basically was like, I didn't initially speak out about my story because he wanted to, because obviously it's really traumatic, like we know from the Me Too movement. But when she came out saying she was a victim of Harvey, that's when his trauma came out. And, I think Argento obviously is caught in hot water, and she said that she was paying Bennett, but it was because he was going through a really hard economic time. And then, if you guys don't know, she actually was Anthony Bourdain's girlfriend, and Anthony Bourdain passed away earlier this summer. He committed suicide. So in all of this, she said that it was actually Anthony Bourdain's idea to pay him, which I think in a way it feels a little bit like when Kevin Spacey went through that whole thing and then came out. It's almost like a distraction.
Right.
I'm a victim. Let's not forget that I have a boyfriend that passed away. Right? And so it just felt really murky.
And her story too. What was interesting to me about that was so incredibly detailed about exactly who said what to Anthony Bourdain and to him. It almost felt like she had worked out this plan. That the whole thing was just so dense, full of things and receipts of what they were saying that it also didn't feel real.
It does seem very calculated. A little bit.
I've watched a lot of true crime documentaries too, and I think that's what I'm going into. I'm going back and forth.
Investigating this entire situation.
Yeah. So, there's obviously a lot of people coming out and actresses and whatever. I know you have more information on that.
Yeah, totally. So obviously Asia Argento was one of the main, like you were saying, one of the main supporters of the Me Too movement along with Rose McGowan. And so they've been seen in a lot of public things together, getting really close over the last 10 months, really working for this cause. So everyone was kind of waiting anxiously waiting what Rose was going to say about this. So in a now since deleted tweet, she first tweeted out saying, "We're still uncovering all the details of this story," and then ended the tweet with "Be gentle." And then, of course, that sparked a ton of backlash of being like, why are we gentle with her when we're not gentle with other, people who are assaulters? So essentially, she then retweeted because people were saying that she felt like she was being hypocritical and having double standards when it came to male survivors of sexual assault. So Tuesday night, she tweeted again saying, "Oh, for F's sake, I'm not defending." So she also tweeted that another thing about how her and Asia have been, working together and basically saying, "I'll continue to work on behalf of victims everywhere." But again, it just felt a little weird, right? Because we did sort of see this. So Alyssa Milano also defended the Me Too movement. So she's kind of spoken out about the whole situation. She sat down with ABC yesterday and said that people that have been abused can also be abusers, and that's a sad fact. She also went on to say she doesn't have any fears about the Me Too movement, that what this does is enable us to identify issues, the problems, and discuss them, get them out in the open. Because I think now we're kind of seeing a whole other level of the Me Too movement, right? Of like Alyssa was saying, you can be abused and also be an abuser, and what does that look like? And with a minor and him coming out and him being a male, I think we're kind of seeing the whole different scale of this movement.
Definitely. And I think it's like really quick for people to say that the Me Too movement is incredible if one of those assaulters is like, if one of those victims is also an assaulter, and like, how do we respond? And like, are we angry with her, or do we empathize with her because she was a victim of Harvey Weinstein? And like, it has been said that like people that go through sexual abuse often have like distorted relationships in the future, and it's not to excuse her, but it really complicates things.
It does.
And it's really unsettling. And I don't know, it's just like, do we write her off completely, or do we like empathize with her because of what she went through?
I think my big thing with the Me Too movement is all about like telling the truth. It's like, I want men of power to be like, I did this, instead of making up stupid excuses or saying that like, blaming it on the victims. They told the truth in certain cases, like, I messed up, I did these things, and I almost have more respect for that. It's like, yes, you did, and you're going to pay those consequences. But what upsets me about this whole situation is kind of like, Asia, I get it. Like, if I'm totally feeling for her as a victim. Like, that is a horrible experience, and I wish that on no one. But when you start lying, and then you bring in your boyfriend, and then it becomes this whole big thing, and then people start uncovering, it takes away your credibility. And like, in the end, if she would have been like, I made a mistake, like, this is how I'm owning up to it, I think it's a little more credible, right? I think it's the lying that really gets me.
Totally.
I agree
she
with
got
Emily.
totally caught.
I would say, if she came out the
did.
gate just like, you know what, unfortunately, this is a situation I got caught up in, and this is a result as to the trauma that I faced, I think we would have been able to empathize with her a little bit more. But you also know me. I'm also about keep that same energy, okay? We have to be able to protect and empathize with the male victims of the Me Too movement, because they don't receive as much empathy. They don't receive as much, sadness or like any kind of credit going towards them for dealing with what they've had to go through. So I don't think it's 100% fair to say, oh, well, she's been abused before. So like, it makes sense. Like, we can't use those excuses to try
It's just crazy how people don't realize that everything, the truth always comes out.
Always.
Like,
and there's always receipts.
Always. Like, you took a damn selfie with the kid.
Right,
like,
pose for it. They were really cozy.
Yeah. And also, a victim is a victim, and I'm so glad that he felt like finally at this place where he could share his story, because that would have just like, if he still felt ashamed or still felt like he had no space to talk, like that would have gone unnoticed. And so it just makes you wonder what else is happening that people still don't feel comfortable yet. So again, like Alyssa was saying, we're finally talking about this whole extra layer that's only going to keep us going, because we're not going back anywhere. We're just pushing the conversation forward. And unfortunately, there's a whole other layer that we have to discuss too.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. Yeah, I think that was a great way to end on it. I mean, I wonder what's going to happen, because, like, if it turns out to be credible, like, she could be convicted.
Well, we'll be staying tuned. All right, so I'm going to lighten up just a little bit.
Yeah, we got a little dark on this show.
Let me shake things up. Okay. In our latest Kardashian news, or I should say Jenner, because this is focusing specifically on Kendall Jenner. She kind of upset like almost everyone model out there. Okay, so in an interview with the Love magazine, she discussed how Kendall's been like super selective about what shows she does. She's not the kind of girl who's going to do 30 or more shows in a season. She said, I had 1 million jobs, not just catwalk, but like everything else. And she mentioned how the whole combination was overwhelming, and she started to freak out. She's on the verge of a mental breakdown. But I think the problem that a lot of people had was being selective over what job she would take. I had 1 million jobs and plenty of other things to do, and like, I'm not the kind of girl who's going to do 30 shows in a season. I think those are like the 3 points that people were kind of upset about. So models responded to Kendall, and they responded fast. I actually saw an entire Twitter thread that showed a multitude of different models either posting the interview and a picture of Kendall in their Instagram story, tweets about it, captions under the Love magazine post. It was a lot. So Leomi Anderson, a British supermodel, she tweeted, "I'm shocked but not surprised by this attitude. Not everyone gets to skip castings, get paid more than everyone else, and generally work less. It's not about being selective. It's about not having to put the work in but still receiving all the campaigns and editorials."
This reminds me a lot of the whole self-made thing with Kylie, right?
Oh,
it's like the privilege.
I'm so glad you said it.
It's like, of course you don't have to like work in 38 cat shows, because you have the money and the financial means to not have to. It's not about being selective. It's about having the privilege to be selective.
And also, so last year, 2017, she was, I think Forbes declared her the highest paid model of 2017. So then we also have to take that into account of like, well, if because I'm not defending her by any means, and I'm just thinking what she's going through. If she's like, I'm the highest paid model, I've worked for this, I've earned this. It's kind of like the Kylie thing.
Has she worked for it? And
that's the real debate, though. I mean,
I don't really think it's a debate. I think that like she came. I think she's a hardworking model. Absolutely.
Right.
Do I think that it's the same thing with Kylie? She's not self-made. She had a lot, and also like now when people are doing fashion shows, right? It's not necessarily about who is the most talented model, it's who has the biggest following. 100%, because you want eyeballs on your show, you want eyeballs on your clothes. It's automatic publicity. So Kendall Jenner is such a household name at this point. Like, it's like the Kardashians are like the royals of the US.
Let me tell you this. Another model named Jessica, she tweeted, "I've never once saw her at a casting, but every fitting we had together, as soon as she walked in the showroom, everyone dropped what they were doing to get her fitted and was never in the showroom for more than 20 minutes. She refused to walk rehearsals, and that's tea."
There you go. Spill it, honey.
I love that's tea. I want to start ending my tweets with that.
It's like she doesn't have to do what everyone else has to do.
She doesn't. She doesn't have to put in those countless hours, those sleepless nights.
Which is fine, because whatever, that's like who she is. But then when she talks on it and acts as though it's like her choice, and like like those girls are crazy for walking 30 shows. Like, I'm not like them.
Yeah, and I have plenty of other things to do. I can't just dedicate my time to modeling.
And and two other things to say about this. One is this isn't the first time that Kendall sort of had one of these aloof missteps. Like, we can never forget the Pepsi commercial.
Okay, never forget.
Right, but then also something like this, it's kind of like, are you just sitting there just like spewing these thoughts? I just want to be like, you're literally, a household name. I feel like you should think through maybe a little bit more of what that's going to look like to other people. And her being like, I was on the verge of a mental breakdown, I almost want to be like, well, what do you think these other models who are doing 20 times the amount of shows that you're claiming to even do, like, well, how do you think they feel? And instead, why don't you use your power and your privilege as a way to push the modeling industry forward?
I think it's privilege. This is an issue of, like, privilege and just not being woke. Sorry. But
it's just not woke. Yeah.
So,
which is very on brand for her, as much as I love her.
I mean, that is just like blatantly just asking for it.
But that's kind of the Kardashian-Jenner brand.
And also her apology tweet was
let's get into
very disingenuous.
So she responded in a series of tweets. She started by saying, "I was misrepresented in a recent interview over the weekend, and it's important to clarify what I meant. It was intended to be entirely complimentary, but unfortunately my words were taken out of context." She said then also she has respect for her peers, and the respect is immeasurable. In another tweet she said, "I get to experience firsthand the tireless commitment, their work ethic, the endless days, the lack of sleep. So I would never take that away from them. They always still look effortless, and they always still look beautiful." And then in another tweet she said, "Slay always, like I'm always trying to hold it down for my fellow models."
Well, it doesn't feel like it.
It didn't feel like it at all. I don't really understand how you were misrepresented when, like, you said what you said and you meant what you said. So
yeah, I don't know.
And it's like, how is that?
Can get out of context sometimes, but I don't know.
But also another thing too that Kendall said before is she's openly said that she's never dealt with sexual assault, and she's just saying, lucky that's never happened. But that's also a huge issue in the modeling industry that a lot of organizations work for, because it is so strenuous and you're on such tight, like
you're getting naked.
Yeah. And then so it's just another example of, like, again, if you haven't dealt with that, like, why don't you do something for those models you have? If you're really wanting everyone to slay always, it's like, well, you're lucky that you haven't dealt with that, but like, what about all the other women that you're still claiming you're supporting?
And like you said, use that power. How can you help?
Yeah.
Is there something you can do to make it easier for those other models? Can you maybe walk a mile in their shoes for a day so you can actually really see what it looks like, what it feels like? Like, use that power for something.
Even just recognizing that that she's never gonna do that, but like, what can she do because she is in such a place of power?
Right. Oh, well, Kendall, figure it out. All right, now it's time to get lit, get lit. Okay, guys, on Wednesday, I interviewed the cast of the Jersey Shore. These lovely ladies were there.
She was amazing. She was so good.
It was a fun shoot.
It was such a time. Vinny and I might elope. And yeah, it was a really good time. They were promoting Jersey Shore Family Vacation Part 2. It aired last night, and we have the clip from the interview with JWoww.
Can I watch? Okay, next question. Most of you have kids. When are you going to let your kids watch the seasons of Jersey Shore? When do you think? If ever?
Never. No, I always say, like, I treat it like Santa. I want to be able to tell them, and not some, like, little asshole kid at school telling them that, Santa's not real. And by the way, your mom is JWoww and peed behind a bar. So I'm always, like, trying to find when that is. But kids are getting more accessible to the internet. The younger, like, I was, like, back in the day, 15 years old was good. Now it's like 7. And then they're on YouTube, like, Googling who their parents are, so I don't know.
That'd be dope, though. Like, no kids would mess with me if my mom was JWoww, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, my mom's JWoww.
I hope.
So how are you going to plan to bring it? Like, have you thought about it?
I'm just going to be like, listen, I paid for your college, deal with it, and what I did, you cannot do. You're not allowed.
You got over there?
Yeah, all this is because of that.
So there you go.
Mouth shut,
Done. It's over.
Okay, that was a great clip. Like, I love JWoww, and like, it's gonna be so crazy when, like, we were talking about with Jen Garner and Ben Affleck, like her kids seeing like all those episodes.
I wanted to bring that up, but I was like, I'll wait till we get there because that's gonna be crazy. Like, your mom is JWoww.
But I mean, I love it that she's owning it. She's like, "What? How do you think you got all this?
Yeah,
like, it's from this."
I pay for your tuition.
And I always wonder about reality stars. I love that they just own it. And they were the
too.
most genuine cast.
Okay, so I didn't show this clip in the interview, but Vinny and I like had a moment like on camera.
They're gonna get together.
Where like it was, I just was kind of like giving him like a little like and like he kind of like it was reciprocated. I think
Jenny was picking up what she was.
Yeah, Jenny was like facilitating it. She was like,
thing.
"You guys are gonna smash." I don't know what smash means. Just kidding. But like, okay, so after the interview, DJ Pauly D and I were like DMing, and I was like, "So like, should I go after Vinny?" And he was like, "Yeah, like you should smash." And I was like, "Well, what should I say?" And he was like, "DTF?" ? And I was like, "That's so aggressive." So I want to hear from you guys home. What should I DM Vinny to go on a date, not just to have relations?
Relations. Than that, you know.
What do you think I should do?
Like a lady.
This is the only thing. I just feel like he might just, he doesn't have to work for it because he's like a celeb.
Listen, Vinny, if you're watching,
that's true. I'm not up.
Vinny, if you're watching, okay, we're ready for you.
Yeah,
Vinny. Want to mention, it's gonna be great.
Like, no, I think Vinny needs to work for you just a little bit too. Like you said, you are okay. You are a bomb. You are that girl. So just hit him up like
it's all about confidence.
Just hit him up. Dinner and drinks? ? Let him plan the rest.
You know who else is that girl though? The Hills cast, and most importantly, Lauren Conrad.
Legit.
Let's talk about it.
More MTV news, reboots on reboots on reboots, and I'm so glad about it. They like are literally listening to us. So The Hills was epic. It literally lasted 6 seasons. It began in 2010, and it's officially coming back. And it was literally announced on the red carpet, on the VMAs, all of the stars except for Lauren Conrad, who is literally the lead of the show, but okay, it's like literally having like a Lizzie McGuire without Hillary.
Right.
Confusing. Brody Jenner and Kristen Calvary, but apparently Brody Jenner is in talks with MTV and he's negotiating to come back on the show. Okay. And Whitney Port is also going to be on the show, so it's literally going to be all of them, I think, except for LC. But there was some tea with Audrina Patridge, who she recently got divorced from her husband, and he came out being like, I don't want our 2-year-old daughter on The Hills. Like, I don't want them to exploit my daughter. And I thought this was really interesting, and I wanted to hear from you guys because it kind of reminded me a little bit about like Kylie and Kendall, and like they were so young on the Kardashians, right? And this girl, she's 2 years old, so granted, like how much could she be exploited? She could be though, but it's like not her decision to be on the show. What do you think that is? Because I know that, like, for example, Kim doesn't have Northwest on the show that much because Kanye doesn't want her to be on the show, so she's rarely like in a scene the way like Mason is. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's ethically okay to like put your kids in front of the camera when they don't have the choice to?
I think if her ex-husband, the father of her kids, is saying, I do not want them to be on the show, it's not like she's gaining an extra leg by having her child on the show. It's not like people are tuning in to see the child, they're tuning in to see her and what she has going on. So you just want to let your kids be kids, you know, and you don't want to have them in that limelight. You don't want them to grow up thinking that cameras are always going to be around them. There's always going to be a production crew. You want them to go outside, have fun and play, and not have to worry about the kind of antics that come with being on TV.
Yeah, I see both sides, honestly, because you're tuning into Hills Reboot because you want to see how their lives have progressed. So I want to see Audrina as a mom, right? So you want that part of it, but I get it. It's like your kid can't consent, but also you are a reality star and your kid's going to be in the limelight at this point, no matter what.
But at that young,
but
they're only two.
They're only two, but I think doing some sort of show that's about your family, you have a little bit more control of like what we're going to show and what we're not. And I think it's like going into it like, this is my kid, this is what I want to show. I get that and I understand because regardless, I think at that point when you choose to have kids, you're sort of consenting for them as a baby that you're going to be famous.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So it's murky water, but I can see both sides.
I hope they'll come to a happy compromise. Like, I think it's going to be, like you said, she is a mom and the show is about her life. So it's going to be very hard to not see their child at all. But, you know, they obviously don't have to be in every single scene. They don't have to, like, kind of stage these moments with the child just for the sake of the show. So hopefully they'll be able to play both sides and make everybody happy.
Honestly, I saw her at the VMAs, and she was not that nice. I'm just saying it. I mean, like, I asked her for a selfie, but in the context of, like, we had a mutual friend and, like, whatever, and it wasn't like, hi, let's have a selfie. It was, like, a nice, like, we had a conversation with her. She literally turned her back to me after she was like, yeah, sure, and then turned her back to me, and I was like, okay, I'll just take a selfie with someone else. And look who I took selfies with. Just look. I got it here for you. Yep, we have Frankie, who's looking real good. He's his wife, kids, like Latino. I love it. Next.
Perfect.
We got Justin Bobby, who
I can't with Justin Bobby.
I love
he also,
Justin Bobby.
Looks like a vampire, but I'm fully here for it.
Always did.
And also Jason, who like, obviously it's like iconic when Lauren didn't go to Paris to be with him.
Yeah, can I say, like,
He has a hot wife though.
every time I think about The Hills, I think about that moment when she was like, okay, do I stay with Jason and make my relationship work, or do I go to Paris and pursue my career? And I was sitting there like, girl, I don't even know what I would do. Like, I don't know. Like, if this is...
Let's legit Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City when she was like, do I go to Paris to be with the boyfriend, or do I stay and be a writer with my friends? Paris is like, it's a tough place.
Like, especially like at that time, she thought like that was going to be the love of her life. Like, she thought like that was it. So it's like, but I will say this, if it is going to be the love of your life, then he ain't going nowhere. You can go to Paris, you can go wherever you want to go. And if it is really concrete, then time, distance, no matter what will keep y'all apart. So sis should have went to Paris. But I mean, you're fine now.
Sari, what was your favorite Hills moment?
There's just like an iconic moment of Lauren crying, and she has black mascara, and it's just like dripping down her face, and that's why I always have eyelash extensions, and I never wear mascara because I never want that to happen to me. But it's so iconic.
Was that the time when she told Heidi like, I just want like nothing to do?
Oh my God, that was their breakup.
That was a hard one. That was hard.
It's gonna be epic to have them back. Also, I love Spencer Pratt. He's so obsessed with his baby. He literally brought his baby on the red carpet. At the
they're fun.
I can't believe Heidi and Spencer are still together after all this time.
I'm not mad at it. They knew. She knew. She was like, I might have to sacrifice some friendships. I might have to sacrifice, you know, a couple of things going on in my life, but this is the love of my life, so I'm gonna stick with it. I ain't mad at it.
Also, can we never forget the Whitney Port falling down the stairs in the...
No, that was so sad. Whitney Port literally was like on TV for the first time for like, what was it, like...
It was a fashion show, right? With Lauren Conrad in the back.
Literally just tumbles over off. That was so sad.
But honestly, it was so sad, but I feel like that moment, though, like, she had such a comeback from that she's amazing and this incredible fashion person.
Yeah, now we'll never forget.
Never.
Okay, then also, wait, so you said Kristen isn't also going to be on the show.
She actually has a show on E, which I feel like that's like sketch that she did that, because it's like, I feel like these stars like have a loyalty to the first network that they joined. So it's like, I feel like she should have had at least a show with MTV, but she didn't. So she has her show on E that I don't even know how it's doing. I don't really care to watch it, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then Brody, I think, is in negotiations. I just feel like what they need is like a protagonist. Like, I feel like they have all these players.
They need LC.
They need LC.
Or at least
Kristen.
Or at least someone, right? They need someone to like fulfill that role. And like, it could be fun if it was someone new. It could be fun like if it was someone from
adding
like
a new
Laguna,
element,
or like, I don't know. But I just like, this show was iconic because it was literally one of the first reality shows like ever. Like that, following like that life. And
I'm about to say, I started with Laguna and I was tuned into Laguna every week.
So hard. And it's funny, like, so they did a Hills reunion special, like I think last year, and like literally Lauren's like, whenever like I watch like back like of those episodes, like I cannot believe it's like another life that she, and granted, like that whole show and that whole franchise literally jumpstarted her career, and she has an incredible business now. She's a designer. She is like,
you know
all
what
this
I
stuff.
will say? It's like, I feel like all of the ones that are coming back for the reboot, I recognize them from The Hills. I'm like, you guys are reality stars from The Hills. But Lauren Conrad, she's separate to me. I'm like, she's like, because she's like a whole separate entity.
She created her name for herself. She took that show, she used it as a platform, but she said, I have so many bigger and better things to do. And
where I just sort of forget sometimes that she was on reality.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you want it to be sometimes. Like, you kind of use it as your stepping stool, but you're like, don't worry.
But I mean, I still love reality TV stars. Don't get me wrong. I'm like their biggest fan.
Literally, I can't wait for our reality show.
It's gonna be good. Okay, you know who else I'm the biggest fan of is Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians.
Okay, so Emily and I saw Crazy Rich Asians last night, and I don't think you understood. Like, every 5 seconds we were like, he's so hot. He's so hot. Everyone in the movie is stunning.
Gorgeous.
Stunning.
All of the outfits are incredible. It's hilarious. Like, A+ on that movie.
It's amazing. And I also love Awkwafina. We've actually worked with her before, R29, and she is like about to take off. The hilarious best friend. I mean, she was amazing. And also the fashion in the movie, it was like one of my favorite parts. So beautifully done. So obviously it crushed the box office. 35 million 5-day opening.
Epic.
The best we've seen since Trainwreck in 2015.
Hey.
Right?
So
it's really cool.
Diversity, people.
It's also the first movie with an all-Asian ensemble cast since 1993's The Joy Luck Club. But now we're seeing even more movies featuring all Asian, or not all Asian, but featuring prominent Asian characters and cast. A new Netflix rom-com, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, is apparently hot right now. So it was released this week. It's an adaptation of a book written by Jenny Han, and she refused to let the story be told. She apparently had a bunch of movie makers wanted to make the book, but she didn't want it to be told unless the lead was an Asian American girl. It's so cute. So it's about this young girl who is, as you can see in this clip, who has written private letters to all her crushes in high school. But the letters somehow, she kept them in a room in this box. Letters somehow get disseminated to her 5 crushes that you can see on here. It looks absolutely adorable, and it brought me back to just like being in high school and having a crush again. I mean, I'm so excited. It's getting such great reviews too.
But I also did read she didn't think that the movie was going to make it because every production company or every studio she wanted to work with wanted to whitewash the movie, and they wanted to put a white female actress in front of it. But like she said, she stuck to her gun. She's like, I do not want to do this unless I find an Asian girl to be in it.
And it's good because I'm done seeing the same stuff.
The same faces.
And the famous power never say, look at Black Panther, look at Crazy Rich Asians. Like, people want to see color on screen. Like, hello.
Yeah.
Also, I heard that Crazy Rich Asians is getting a sequel.
Yes.
So that's so exciting.
They've confirmed sequel.
That cast is star-studded. Super excited about that.
Also, another cool movie coming out this week, and if you guys need something to see, is it's called. Oh, actually, well, I'll tell you guys in a second. One other thing I want to say about Jenny Han, but I just read it on my note. But the movie's called Searching, and it stars John Cho. It tells a story played by Michelle Law about her mysterious disappearance. And what's really cool about this movie, it's out today, is it's basically done through computer screens and FaceTimes and looking on messages, right? So it's kind of like going through like all of her like steps through her computer. Really wild, so it's going to be an interesting way
to
to
different angle. I like that.
It's a different angle, but I feel like it's really interesting. It's like modern day. It's tracking people, what people are doing online, and he finds out a lot about his daughter. It looks crazy, but really good. Oh. But one other thing I want to say about Jenny Han that I really did want to mention, because she is like, I feel like this is an amazing moment for her. But she was saying kind of what you were saying, Sarah. There are more creators of color who are telling their stories, and that when you have someone who's really invested in seeing the story and the way they imagined it. And I think a lot of times with these writers, it's like, I imagine it this way, and I'm going to like stick to my guns, and I'm going to make it happen.
I love it. I'm so excited. I can't wait to watch it on Netflix.
I'm seeing Crazy Rich Asians this weekend, so I'm very excited. The two of you look like you had a great time yesterday, even though I wasn't invited, but that's okay. I will see it anyway, and everybody else should go and see it. But another sequel that we should be looking forward to is Girls Trip 2. One of my favorite. Okay, another movie with a very prominent cast. Girls Trip has been confirmed. The Flossie Posse is back in action. So Regina Hall did an interview with BuzzFeed's AM to DM when she basically said that she's not 100% sure when they'll be filming, but the Flossie Posse is getting back together. She doesn't know where they're going. In the first movie, we saw them at New Orleans Essence Fest. So stay tuned on where they'll be going. I'm hoping that they do like a homecoming. They all went to Florida University, FAMU. They mentioned that they attended Howard's homecoming when they were back in their day. So I'm hoping to see like a little homecoming reaction. I think that would be very nice.
Ooh, I'm down for that.
Right? So then even in other news, Jada Pinkett, she kind of tweeted this. I don't know. I don't think it's the official movie cover. I think it's like a mock photo cover of like a Girls Trip 2. So people are very excited and looking forward to seeing what the movie is going to look like. But also, since we mentioned Girls Trip, we have to absolutely talk about Tiffany Haddish,
who crushed it at the VMAs.
Oh, she threw some shade.
Can we talk? Before we get into that, can we talk about that really quickly? Tiffany,
the shade
I love her, but she's gonna be her authentic self. If she wants to throw shade, she's gonna throw shade. And you know, Nicki Minaj tried to defend it, talk about Normani is her girl.
Yeah,
so
wait, why don't you tell the audience?
So basically, Tiffany Haddish and Kevin Hart, they were doing their little comedic skit, getting ready to introduce the new award. And you know, that's when the time when they shout out different artists and celebrities on the audience, make it known that they're there, give their jokes. You know, they're both comedians, so that's what they're going to do. So Tiffany kind of made this comment, like Camila Cabello. First of all,
said her name wrong, which I really didn't like.
I didn't like that. She butchered her name, because I'm gonna keep this stat.
Like, I mean, but I feel like that was a genuine accident, right?
It was a genuine accident, but if it was a white presenter who mispronounced an African American's name like that, they would have been slandered to no end. So, like, Tiffany, you should have practiced before you got up on that stage. I'm just be real. I love you, girl, but let's just be honest.
Yeah,
so
that was
she got up there, she completely butchered her name, but you know, Camila.
She was like Camila
Cabello. Yeah, like that's just funny.
She was like, I can't read. And
right, yeah, she played it off on her. Like, y'all know I can't read. I ain't got my glasses on. So funny, she played it off very well. But she made like a little shade diss on something. Like, yeah, Camilla's here. She's nominated for this. She's nominated for that. hate Fifth Harmony on some like Fifth Harmony isn't really doing anything. The other girls are kind of being a little bit slighted, which isn't 100% true. So the audience was like, ooh, okay, shade this. You know, Camilla always smiled on her face. And then Nicki Minaj, they were actually presenting the best hip hop video, which Nicki Minaj won for Chun-Li. So Nicki Minaj got on the stage and like before she even gave her speech, she was like, what you're not going to do, because Normani is my girl, I'm going to always hold her down. So, I mean, I don't really know what happened with the other girls, but Nicki took up for Normani.
But also, like, enough with this pitting girls against other girls.
So low. And I know a couple of the girls from Fifth Harmony did tweet out. They're like, you know, we're actually fine. There's no beef between any of us. So I wish people wouldn't kind of create this fake drama.
Well, Lauren Haregi, who's, like, done a lot of stuff, like, collaborated with Halsey, produces her own music. I mean, she even said, she's like, I don't get why this is an ongoing joke, basically being like, there's space for all of us. It's annoying. And I think at this point, it's kind of like, okay, we love all of them. It's like, I love Normani, and I also love Camila Cabello, and like Lauren Haregi, and Dinah, and Allie. It's like, they're all going to do amazing things.
Emily is a fan girl.
I'm a Fifth Harmony fan girl, and it's kind of like a One Direction. It's like, they're all going to do their own things, but it's no one makes the 1D jokes anymore, so hopefully that'll be the last Fifth Harmony one, too. Even though I did appreciate the shade. I mean, it was good.
I laughed a little bit. I was just like, damn, girl. That was a little rough. But Tiffany Haddish. Love the girl. She is now getting her own hour-long comedy special on Netflix. She is going to be taping it later this year, and it will premiere early in 2019. Netflix's VP of original documentary and comedy said, Tiffany Haddish is a force, hilariously funny, brash, and self-effacing. She's an incredible artist who is winning over audiences while breaking barriers, and we are tremendously proud that she will showcase her formidable talent on Netflix.
Epic. I'm so excited.
I love those Netflix specials.
And can I say, Tiffany has been on the scene for a minute now. Like, remember the show Pimp My Ride on MTV? Like, she was an extra on a Pimp My Ride episode. Like, she has been trying to do this for a very long time. And Girls Trip was, like, her breakthrough moment. So from there, we've seen her, you know, she's now got this Netflix comedy special. She has that deal with Groupon. She has a movie with Kevin Hart coming out, Night School. Like, she has so many things going for her. She has a show on TBS coming out soon. Like, all these projects kind of coming her way. And for me, it's like, never give up on that dream, you know? No matter how small or big it may seem, how far-fetched, it could be something that you can never envision yourself actually doing. But if you stick with it, you're dedicated. You know, she was homeless at one point, living out of her car. Kevin Hart loaned her money, like, and now look at them. She's starring in a movie with him. So I just think it's a really amazing story.
I think so, too.
I love it. So, guys, a little unrelated, but I'm going to the Drake concert tonight. And I've been thinking about Drake a lot recently.
Do you want to slide into his DMs, guys?
I think
no, Vinny or Drake?
I vote Drake, so I can be his friend.
So let's talk about Drake for a second. Have you heard anything about him and his child? Because I feel like Scorpion came out, all this drama happened, and like, do we know anything? Is he going to bring his baby on stage like Cardi brought that fake culture on stage at the VMAs?
Let me say, Drake is one of the artists who's fortunate enough to have his music speak enough or speak so loudly that he can kind of go through anything. Like, okay, the dude got caught in a blackface photo. It was revealed. Pusha T put out there, you're hiding a child. But as soon as Scorpion drops, it's like, forget all that. Like, the music is out. Like, the music is out. You're fire again. He's on Travis Mode's Astro World for Sicko Mode. I love that song. Like, who is talking about anything that Drake went through when he's producing fire? Can't get mad at it. He's not bringing that son out.
It reminds me, honestly, a lot of Ronnie's situation on the Jersey Shore. And
tell our audience if they haven't seen it.
Yeah, so on the Jersey Shore, Ronnie, one of the characters, actually gets this woman pregnant. I think she, like, is maybe a stripper or something. Her name's Jen.
Yeah, Jen.
Yeah, she works in Vegas. And, yeah, he got her pregnant. They were, like, they were barely together. They're now making it work. I think they're trying. They have a daughter named Ariana. She's super cute. Adorable. She was on the first episode of Jersey Shore. Adorable. But, like, the thing about that episode is you really see, like, what happens when you know, have a kid with someone you don't know that well. And you're trying to make it work. And, you know, it's just, when I see Ronnie, like, be so, and Ronnie in the episode is just like, I'm so scared because I don't want her to take our daughter away.
Right.
Like, he's so scared of, like, them fighting and everything. And they've gotten into really bad fights. Like, she got arrested for, like, hitting him, whatever. But then I started thinking about Drake. It's like, what is their agreement? Like, he's obviously giving money, but how involved is he in the child's life? Imagine growing up in your dad's Drake and, like...
Remember, he said on Scorpion he's only seen his child about 2 times. And, like, my message to Drake and to Ronnie, I hope you're watching and I hope you're listening, like, you don't have to be with the mother of your child to be an amazing father.
Like Ben Affleck and Jen Garner.
Okay, and he's still an amazing parent to his kids. And as long as you are in the child's life, it does not matter. As long as you're not disrespectful towards the mother and the mother isn't disrespectful towards you, you still have an obligation and a duty to be a father to your child. And as long as you are doing that and you have a relationship with them, you know that they love you, you love them, like you have like that
Drake
bond.
said before in his music too about he's like, I don't want to be that kind of dad. He's like, I want to be a good dad. So I think I feel like something's happening behind the scenes that maybe we don't know, but like I feel like Drake's not going to let that happen if he talks openly.
I hope so. I mean, again, on the album, he was saying how his father kind of just now finished paying his child support payments. Like, Drake is a grown man. He's in his 30s. Like, child support is supposed to end by 18, and like he's just now finishing out his payments. And he kind of mentioned how he doesn't want to be. Granted, he and his father Dennis now have an amazing relationship, but like growing up, Drake didn't have that relationship with his father. He doesn't want to mirror that same relationship. But like in these beginning stages, like Emily said, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but it kind of seems
reminds me a little bit of like when you're a victim, you kind of like perpetuate like what happened to you. So like he had a bad relationship with his dad, so he's almost perpetuating that instead of like you should break the cycle. But we don't know. I mean,
I know it's hard, but I really wish that like. When in those situations, like I don't want what happened to me to happen to my child. So I'm gonna go above and beyond to make sure I am.
Use those condoms, y'all.
Listen, strap up, people.
I'm excited to hear about the concert tonight because I'm wondering if Drake does a mix of like personal, heartfelt stories mixed with his music, or if how in depth he goes, or what songs he sings. You have to report back.
Also,
to us.
Migos is playing with Drake. They're opening for him.
Oh, that's gonna be a fire.
Yeah,
concert.
no, it's gonna be so fire. And I love Migos. I love Offset culture. Can we get a picture of her, please?
We're not gonna get a picture of her anytime soon.
I feel like they like wait unless like they're the Kardashians and they put that Snapchat
filter. It's like okay, we don't know what she looks like. She just has sparkles on.
No, but I just think it's because it's like when you're a baby, you're kind of like you look a little like alien-like, right? Like when you first pop out, so they're like kind of like I don't know. It's
but
like
you
weird.
know how sensitive Cardi is. If you anybody, you come for her child.
She
will literally send for you.
I know.
You come for her. You come for her sister. She already comes back, but this is her child. Understand, she's not playing any game. So I think she's being very careful of how much of her child she puts out there because she's not about to have anybody talking about culture.
I can't wait till she starts performing again. I know that she's going to perform at Global Citizens Fest, I think, in September.
Fun.
Which I think is her first concert back in the game.
It will be. She dropped out of Bruno Mars's tour so she can spend more time taking care and being with culture, which I'm totally here for. But I know she's ready to. She, at the VMAs after party, she kind of released a new track that she'll be releasing soon, which sounded super dope. So I'm excited that she's already back in the studio.
And she looked fire on the VMAs.
And I love what she said. She was like, everyone, because she won Best New Artist and everyone, she was like, everyone said that I couldn't be a mom, that I was ruining my career, that like this was a huge mistake. And I have to say, I think that there's so much pressure on women. Like, you cannot possibly be a mother and career-oriented. And that and she's basically calling bullshit on that. And I totally agree. And I even had my doubts. I was like, why are you pregnant when you just dropped this sick album?
Exactly.
But no, you can do both. And, like, she killed it. Invasion of Privacy.
You know that's the album. You know
we talk about it all the time, but Cardi really has, like, shattered the status quo of what it means, like, to be, like, a female rapper, to be a mom, like, to be in the entertainment industry. We talk about her literally every episode.
Because we love her so much.
We love her. All right, on that note, guys, have an amazing weekend, and we will see you next Friday on The Mention.
Bye, guys.
Have a good weekend.
Cheers.